Lately, a video of Taehyung and Jungkook on a plane has gone viral again. No matter how many times it appears on social media, it always ends up catching everyone's attention. Most see it as something romantic because it's impossible to ignore the connection between them. It's that connection that needs no words, that way they look at each other and move as if the rest of the world didn't exist. In the clip, Taehyung is seen nestled on top of Jungkook, enjoying the situation as if it were the most natural thing in the world. That simple image says much more than anyone could explain. It speaks of trust, affection, and a relationship in which both feel comfortable being themselves. It's no wonder that in the Daily Fashion News Post, they wrote, "V and Jungkook are so cute together." Peak Boy of the Wooga Squad also left his support. Moojin, Taehyung's stylist, too. Even the dentist who treats them both, smiled. Dr. Lee. Anyone who has ever played golf with Taehyung didn't hesitate to follow the account and like the video. For those who know them or have spent time with them, there's no doubt that Taehyung and Jungkook are happy together. These aren't theories or rumors, it's in every smile, in every gesture. In that way they always seek each other out even when they think no one is watching. Of course, the flip side of all this is that the same video also generated negative comments. Every time Taehyung and Jungkook are seen so close, some people get uncomfortable. It bothers them that Jungkook enjoys being with Taehyung without worrying about what others might say. It irritates them to see that every interaction between them seems natural, that there's no effort or pretense, that they act like any loving couple would. And the reaction, in many cases, borders on the childish, criticism, mockery, and comments meant to discredit something that, deep down, they simply can't accept. The curious thing is that Taehyung and Jungkook aren't doing anything out of the ordinary for them. They're adults, they have their lives, and they live them the way they want. They don't need to force gestures to please anyone, nor hide them to avoid criticism. The clearest case is that of those who support the jungkook idea, who have made their rejection of Taehyung a constant thing, and who now also target Jungkook for allowing Taekook to be so evident. According to them, it's all fan service. But that explanation falls apart when you see moments like the one on the plane. There are no official cameras, no script, no interest in selling anything. It's just two people enjoying their time together. And yet, it seems that some can't get over the fact that they traveled together in first class, that they recorded themselves in an intimate moment, and that those images ended up circulating all over the internet. They can't stand that Taehyung uploads videos in which he looks comfortable, even snuggled up on Jungkook's lap, and that the general reaction is so positive. It's as if every post showing them like this is a wound to the pride of those who prefer to see them apart. What's clear is that no matter how much hate is heaped on them, their way of being together speaks louder than any rumor. And every time a video like the one from the plane reappears, that connection is once again recorded, intact and evident, for anyone who wants to see it. It's no secret that Taehyung's new photos are breathtaking. Every time he shares something, it's as if he knows exactly how to surprise us. His presence, his style, and that unique way of conveying emotions with a simple glance, there's nothing to envy anyone. And I'm not just talking about beauty, but also about the warmth he transmits. Taehyung has always shown that his heart is as big as his talent. He strives day after day, not only to be better at what he does, but to deliver something genuine to the people who follow him. And that's right there where I also think of Jungkook. Because, although they don't always show it obviously, Taehyung and Jungkook have a special connection. You can see it in the small gestures, in the way they look at each other or lean on each other at key moments. They are a couple who understand each other without words and who, even with everything going on around them, maintains that bond intact. Many people may want to ignore it, but for those of us who have followed them for years, it's impossible not to see it. There's been a lot of confusion and divided opinions lately. Some insist on creating a different image, showing interactions between Jungkook and Jimin as if they were something more. I'm not saying there isn't friendship, because there clearly is, but it's evident that there's a plot behind it, a fan service that the company uses to sell a story and maintain the interest of a certain segment of the public. The problem is that amidst this strategy, they've tried to distance Taehyung and Jungkook, as if their closeness were an obstacle. This has led some fans to be swayed by what they see in official content, without stopping to consider that many things aren't as spontaneous as they seem. And the worrying thing is that these ideas turn into direct attacks on Taehyung, especially from people who prefer to deny his relationship with Jungkook. We've even seen how Jungkook had to archive a post where he appeared with Taehyung, simply because of the number of negative comments it received, many of them hateful and unfounded. And this is where I think it's important to remember something. Taehyung and Jungkook are adults, just like all the members of BTS. They're free to make their own decisions, to share what they want, and to live their personal lives as they see fit. The role of those of us who claim to support them should be to accompany them, not criticize them for every step they take. The relationship they have is theirs, and whether they choose to show it or not, it's because they prefer. Furthermore, it's not just about defending them as artists, but also as people. They've spent years building a career that isn't easy. They've sacrificed time, privacy, and comfort to be where they are. It's not fair that after all that, they have to endure attacks just because their relationship doesn't fit the fantasy some people have. If I've learned anything from following Taehyung and Jungkook, it's that real connection doesn't need yelling or forced tests. It's in the small moments, in the way they support each other even when they're not in front of the cameras. That's why my support for them doesn't depend on trends or what the company wants to show. I will always be on Taehyung and Jungkook's side because I know that what they have is authentic. And although there are people who prefer to close their eyes to that, the truth is that their relationship is still there, beyond any screen. So, while some continue to invent stories to divide them, I choose to continue supporting them, because I know that behind it all, Jungkook and Taehyung are still that couple who care for each other, who understand each other, and who no matter what happens, find a way to continue walking together. When two people act to impress, it shows. Their gestures are calculated, their glances are rehearsed, and even their smiles seem like they're part of a script. But when two people truly understand each other, when their connection is real, they don't need to plan anything. There's no need to practice something that comes naturally to them. And that's exactly what happens with Taehyung and Jungkook. They don't seek each other out to get others' attention, they're not there to please an audience. They seek each other out because that's how their bond works, because their relationship is built on something that doesn't depend on applause or cameras. They're used to being close, to sharing space as if it were the most normal thing in the world. Touching each other without fear, looking at each other with that sincerity that can't be faked, exchanging gestures that might seem small to anyone but mean a lot to them. These are details that go unnoticed by most people, but when you look at them closely, you understand that they're part of their way of living together, of loving and caring for each other. When something is repeated so many times and so naturally, it ceases to be a coincidence. It's not a simple mechanical habit, it's part of who they are. Some might interpret this as a game, as something they just do for fun or out of habit. However, when you observe the way they look at each other, the way they touch each other, the way they get physically close regardless of who's around, it becomes clear that we're not watching a staged spectacle. Taehyung and Jungkook don't need grand declarations to express what they feel. Their gestures speak louder than any words. A glance at the right moment, one hand reaching for the other, a gentle push that ends in a smile, all of this tells a story without them having to say a single sentence. And in real relationships, those made of trust and genuine affection, silences also count. Anyone who follows Taehyung and Jungkook closely knows that their relationship doesn't only exist in front of the cameras. It's also present in what isn't recorded, in the way they accompany each other when there's no audience. Sometimes it's a quick text, sometimes a hug when one of them is tired, sometimes just sitting together without saying anything because it's not necessary. That's why my support for them doesn't depend on what's trendy or what others want to interpret. It's not about rumors or what the company wants to show. It's simple: I believe in what I see, and what I see between them is authentic. It doesn't matter if there are people who prefer to ignore it or make up stories to separate them. What they have is still there, intact, beyond any screen or stage. There are days when things can get difficult, the noise of people, the pressures of work, the busy schedules. But even in those moments, they find a way to be by each other's side. Sometimes it's something as simple as exchanging a look that says "I'm with you" or a quick gesture that goes unnoticed by most. For them, that's enough to remind them that they are not alone. And yes, there will be people who always try to create distance between them. But the truth is that Jungkook and Taehyung remain that couple who care for and understand each other without needing to explain. They continue walking together, even when the road isn't easy. It's not just about love or affection, it's also about respect, patience, and the security of knowing that the other will be there when they need it most.